Hello, hello. Mittwoch. Here we here we are. Motzey Shabbos of Shabbos Chazon. Interesting. This is the Shabbos that you know, the week of Yom Kippur. I'm sorry, of Tisha B'av. I think Yom Kippur. And it has the astonishing name of Chazon, vision. And there is a certain explanation of the whole Indian of Tisha B'av and the mourning that is taking place during the 3 weeks. And inherently in it, it also has the promise of redemption in and in itself. Chazon is something that the prophet has. It's a vision. The reason why we lament the destruction of Beis Hamikdash is because we have a vision of the rebuilding of Beis Hamikdash. Now, I spoke to my wife during Shalashudas, and I said I found it really fascinating. Um, you know what's going on in the world with all the anti-Semitism and everything that's going on. But the truth of the matter is that the people in the world may know it viscerally, which is the reason why, for the hatred, but they don't know us at all. I mean, they say that, the Jews have all the money and the Jews control the media and the Jews control Hollywood and the Jews and what are they talking about? Well, in the last 200 years or so, um, there has been a period where the assimilation, the Enlightenment, quote unquote, introduced itself. And the Jewish nation throughout the ages had famously been um, being eroded and renewing all the time. The the guys that didn't make it, those that fell off the wagon, those that fell off the vision, they are the ones who have been winning 30% of the Nobel Prizes. They're the ones that created the banking systems, or whatever it is that people blame the Jews, the Einsteins, the Blumenthals, the Rothschilds. These are all the guys that didn't make it. The guys that made it is the Chofetz Chaim, the Chassam Sofer, and the Baal Shem Tov, and the Bnosson, and Nachman, and the Sfas Emes, and these are the guys that made it. The Chazon Ish, these are the guys that made it. They know zero, nothing about them. They know about Yasha Heifetz, they know about Einstein, they know about Robert Oppenheimer, they know about all the guys that are basically the husks that fell off, you know?
Interesting.
The- They have absolutely, they know nothing, all this, zero, but they do. They don't know what it is that they don't know, but they know. Deep inside, they know. To be honest, if I were to be a goy, I understand totally why, why they're so envious of the Jews. I understand 100%. The same thing is happening, lahavdil, with, the people that are still far from Yiddishkeit in Eretz Israel, that are running things here. They have no idea about what division is. They claim that, we are useless and we are parasites and we are leeches and we are good for nothings and we don't work and we don't this and we don't. They have all these explanations, but they don't understand. You take a look at things. There were yeshivas 2,000 years ago, and 1,500 years ago, and 1,000 years ago, and 500 years ago. If there would have been no yeshivas 2,000 years ago, or 1,500 years, or 1,000 years, or 500 years ago, there would be no state of Israel. Very simply because there wouldn't be for whom to make it. There'd be no Jews left. Where are the Assyrians? Where are the Greeks? Where are the Romans? Where are the Persians? Where are all these empires gone? But these enigmatic Jews that nobody knows anything about except that they wear these black clothes, they have big noses. That's it, you know nothing about them. Yes, and you also know, as a goy, that they have zero interest in you. You want to do commerce, they'll do commerce with you. Other than that, go ahead and look for your friends. They're not your friends. And those that fall off the wagon, that quote unquote want to be your friends, the entire nation is 0.02 or 3, whatever, or percent of the population, and they get 30% of Nobel Prizes. These are supposedly your friends. They're not your friends. As a Gentile, they're not your friends. With such friends, you don't need enemies. They're better than you in anything, everything. How can you not hate him? But they all fall off the wagon of what? Of the Chazon, of the vision. The vision of what? The vision of the Geula, and the only way to get connected to the vision of the Geula is by allowing yourself to immerse in the vision of the destruction. Tisha B'Av, Mariv is over, and the last echoes of Eicha, have already faded away. And people schlep mattresses to the living rooms to sit on with some sforim that depict the Chorban, whatever it is. And in the olden days, they used to have these demonstrations against autopsies. And in those demonstrations, because in Israel, they would perform autopsies no matter what. And the family could say nothing. Nobody could say nothing. It was somebody was in a hospital and he was ill and he wanted to leave. An instruction, a sick person left instructions that he shouldn't be, the autopsy should not be forwarded on him. The doctor would tell him, "So leave the hospital now. We don't want you." It was awful. So they used to have demonstrations, and today we have, Aish is doing this Tisha B'Av special. Chofetz Chaim Heritage Foundation is doing this Tisha B'Av special. And all are very important because they're all means of us trying to connect with the vision of the destruction through which to connect the vision of the Geula. Because without realizing there's destruction, that we are in a state of destruction, there is no vision of redemption. Everything is okay. What do you want? No, it's not okay. The Vilna Gaon famously said that he can uh, sort of imagine the greatness of the Rishonim, Rashi, the Ramban, and he can sort of um, uh, even imagine the stature of the Amoraim, of the Gemara, or maybe even the Tanoim in the Mishnah, Akiva, Yosef, Meir Balanes. He can sort of like, he says, but he has absolutely zero way of envisioning the level of a simple Jew living in the times of Beis Hamikdash. Beis Hamikdash was standing, the madrega of every single Jew. There was a korban in the morning and a korban in Ben Arbaim that kept the people clean from Averis of overnight and clean from the Averis of during the day. And it's like a donkey trying to understand the person. There's such a dichotomy, such a big difference. We don't feel it because we are the donkeys, but we believe it. We have a vision. As we say in the shurim on Thursday night, it's prinas makif. It's a makif. It's that which is beyond our knowledge, but we know it is there. It is during the Churban Abayis that when the Goyim, the Assyrian, the Babylonians, they went into the Kodesh HaKodeshim, and they found, the Keruvim, the cherubs, hugging one another. And made fun of Am Yisrael. And in and on itself, it sounds like a very strange phenomenon. We know that the cherubs were, when Am Yisrael were doing what the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants them to do, then they would face one another. And when Am Yisrael was not doing what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants them to do, then the Keruvim were facing away from one another. So in Tisha B'Av, when they came into the Holy of Holies, in the day which is the epitome of Am Yisrael not doing what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants, and here you see the results, the cherubs are embraced, tightly embraced. What gives? I heard one illumination of it that said that until the walls of Jerusalem actually broke, and the Goyim went into Beis Hamikdash, into the Holy of Holies, the Jews said, it's going to be all right. Yeah, don't be an alarmist. It's nothing going to happen. Shabbos not going to do it. We can do whatever it is we want to do, and we'll schlep, we'll this, we'll that. It's going to be okay. It never happened before. What should happen now? But I mean, it was both of them. Each one stood for 400 years or 400 years. So it's never going to happen. When they went into the Kodesh HaKodeshim, then the Jews realized, yes, it does happen. Because Baruch Hu does mean it. And then they all did tshuva. And the Kruvim immediately were embracing one another. There's another explanation that I heard about it. That, Am Yisrael stayed in Eretz Yisrael since they came in with Yeshua until they went away in Golos. 1,300 years they were in Eretz Yisrael. This is akin to a child that is spending the first 13 years of his life at his father's home. His father, the house of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where Beis Hamikdash. Well, yeah, the Yetzer, commensurately with as great as the Kedusha was, the Yetzer Hara was great. Okay, but once you broke through the Yetzer Hara, was awful. So for the Zohar, they were like awful. Once they broke through the Yetzer Hara, so they broke through the Tumah, the inside of the fruit was kedusha in the first place. I mean, they had nevuah, they had prophecy. They had academies, of prophetic disciplines, and there were prophets. It was a common sight. I was in Yerushalayim. The prophets lived in Yerushalayim. They got to Ruach HaKodesh from Beis Hamikdash all the time. And when the time came for the Jews, because of all the whatever it is that they did that they should not have done, it was time for them to go away, to go in Gullus. It says, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore, in the time of the golden calf, he swore in his wrath. In other words, as long as HaKadosh Baruch Hu is angry, the swear is standing, and it applies. The minute HaKadosh Baruch Hu there's no more wrath, everything is okay. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said two things. First of all, he says, those who, saw Eretz Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them to go in, they didn't go in. From the age 20 to the age 60, they will not get to Eretz Yisrael. From the age 13 to age 20, those that sided with the spies, with the Meraglim, they will not see Eretz Yisrael. Those who sided with Moshe Rabbeinu said, let's go in, because Moshe Rabbeinu said so. Those who are less than 20, they will go and see. And Kadosh Baruch Hu says that he swore those who spoke derogatively of HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never see it as Israel. And it says, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore in his wrath, Umalak kol haaretz es kvod Hashem. And the honor of Kadosh Baruch Hu will fill the land. That is, Chofetz Chaim says, this is the prophecy of the Galus. Am Yisrael, which is the Kodesh Baruch Hu, will fill the land, will go to every corner of the land. So here's a child who is bar mitzvah. From now on, he's going to be chayav in all the mitzvahs. 1,300 years. It's a day of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Am Yisrael is bar mitzvah. Now they're going away. When a child is bar mitzvah, his father does not desert him. Now, he's a 13-year-old, all the mitzvahs fell on him like a two-ton truck. Until now, he can do whatever he wanted. He was not responsible for anything. Now, everything, all the mitzvahs, 613 in one fell swoop. When Am Yisrael is going away, they're going away to fulfill the Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to collect the holy sparks from wherever it is around the world. The embrace of the cherubs, of the Kruvim, in Kodesh HaKodeshim, is the hug of the father hugging his son, before the son goes far away, to fulfill that which his father wants him to do. We spoke at great length about why the Kodesh Baruch Hu needs the Nekama, the revenge against the Goyim. He's going to spread the Yidden amongst the Goyim. The Goyim are going to oppress them. And at the end, the Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to revenge. I mean, normally we would ask, something, don't send us by the Goyim and don't take revenge. What do we care about revenge? Well, we already said that this is a very, very deep union of Shvir Sakelim, the primordial breakage of the primordial vessels, with the light that filled them and they shattered, and the holy sparks fell all around the world, and the Jews have to go to lift them up. We went through all the reasons why it has to be done that way, because of all the faltering that they did from the time of the Megatnim all the way, from the golden calf all the way to all the way to Mount Chorben. But there's another thing, Rabbi Shua ben Levi asked Eliyahu Novi, where's Mashiach? Because every generation has somebody who is Mashiach and waiting. If the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, okay, now Mashiach comes, that person gets a message Mishamayim, and that's it. That's Mashiach. So he told him in Rome, Mashiach is in Rome. You go to Rome and you go and you see Mashiach. Where is he? The Rome has a sector for lepers. And in there you will see at a certain time of day, you see this leper that is taking off the bandages and wiping, the pus of the rotting limbs of the leprosy that he's suffering from and, rebandaging himself. This is Mashiach. You can go see him. What is all this leprosy? Because, he suffers because of Avodas Yisrael. This is the kapara. We don't have the koyach to carry the surim, the suffering, that chas v'chalila do, chas v'chalila when we don't do exactly what we need to do. So Mashiach is the one who accepts him. He's great enough to accept one himself to suffer for everybody else. It's a common theme throughout. The Goyim took that and, put it on that person. So he asked Mashiach and he said, when are you coming? So Mashiach said, Hayya, today. Well, so Yeshua ben Levi went away. He was very happy. Next day, guess who's not here? Mashiach is not here. He meets Eliyahu Novi again. He says, but Mashiach said today, and he didn't come. So Eliyahu Novi tells him, Hayom. He quotes a verse, Hayom im bekoloi tishmau. Today, if you listen to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you obey HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that brings up a question. Why did Mashiach tell him today, Hayom bekoloi tishmau, today, if you listen to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says? Why did he tell him today? It's like Yeshua ben Levi asked him because he had a tsar, that he doesn't know when the end is. And he wants, when you know where the end is, you have, the light at the end of the tunnel, you feel this hope, you feel energized. So the answer of Mashiach, even if this was, besides the fact that it looks like almost like a game, it was like it didn't assuage the pain of Yeshua ben Levi, of the goals and where he's going to finally come. It's like, no. It means if you listen today, if you listen to the Kodesh Baruch Hu says. But in truth, I heard a fabulous answer. The truth is that Mashiach told him the truth. Mashiach will come for a single purpose, to bring us to obey HaKadosh Baruch Hu, come close to him, in a way that was never possible before. What Mashiach was telling him is, Hayoim, means every single day that you obey HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to do, is a day of Bias Mashiach. Your prophet is coming that day. It's the day of coming to the Mashiach. Especially us, Balei Tshuva, we were where we were, and we are where we are. We passed the way we passed. And we look at ourselves and we say, look, we are full of blemishes. We are like so far from what even we understand what we need to be, let alone what we really need to be. But to a very real extent, we are epitomizing a certain aspect of Hayom Bikol Tishma. Today, if you obey HaKadosh Baruch Hu, each one to the best of his ability, to second best of his ability, to bronze medal of his ability, whatever level of his ability is doing it, there's a Bechina of Hayom Bikol Tishma. Only way to actually reach that is to go through the pain, through the vision of Tisha B'Av. So, though it is very difficult not to use some kind of distraction, maybe to see, the programming of Asia Torah or Chofetz Chaim Heritage Foundation or whatever it is, or to go to hear an amazing talk that really breaks the heart. The hardest thing to do, if you really want to touch that point of this cleansing pain, is to take a certain part of Tisha B'Av and don't distract yourself. Just sit there, do nothing, say nothing. Because of that thing, sit on a low bench or a low chair, whatever it is, and you touch that aloneness. Echa yoshvo bodad, ha'ira b'siyam. Sit alone. Don't distract yourself. Touch that vision. And by touching the vision of this purifying pain of the loss, you'll be touching the Geula, the vision of the Geula. Shem Yazol Hashem. Should have Hashem only smachas and Hashem will zeiche to see the building of the Mikdash. That's soon nowadays.